You. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Science Saturday with me, the Enchanted Nanny. Now, this is the first time we've done a Science Saturday with the Enchanted Nanny. I do Science Saturdays every week, but this time we are with the Mummy Tribe, which is really, really great. So hopefully lots and lots of your little ones can walk along with me as we experiment with science and find out lots of new things about the world around us. As I always do whenever I start my lessons, let's sing our welcome song. Here we go. Hello everybody, it's time for us to learn. Hello everybody, it's time for us to learn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time for us to learn. And if I am doing science today, then it must mean it is Saturday, which is the 6th day of the week. So, as we always do, let's sing our Days of the Week song. Here we go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday too. Every day's a happy day, every day's a magic day. Each day's a different day and every day is new. Now, as the Enchanted Nanny, we do lots of lessons and learning together. Sometimes we learn phonics in the morning, other times we learn things like arts and crafts. On Fridays, we learn to cook together, and on Saturdays, we learn our science together. So I'm very excited whenever it's a Saturday because I absolutely love learning all about and investigating the world around me. Now, last week, we created a brilliant experiment all about bacteria. We were looking at the bacteria that can be found on our hands and how to make sure that we wash them properly to make sure that the bacteria comes off, especially before we handle food and eat, because we don't want that bacteria getting into our tummy and making us poorly. So to show how dirty our hands can be, even just after we've washed them, as soon as we've started to touch things around us, germs and bacteria collect on our hands. And so to show this, we created an experiment with bread. So what we did was we grabbed a piece of bread with hands that hadn't been clean yet. And lovely Connie, my little girl, rubbed her hands all over the bread. And at that moment, her hands were dirty. So we labelled the bread dirty hands. Then I sent Connie to go and wash her hands with lots of soap and warm water. She washed her hands for 30 seconds, singing happy birthday, because that song is just the right amount of time for hand washing. She scrubbed them this way and that way and over and under. She did her thumbs, rubbed her fingernails. She did all of the hand washing things that we are told to do to make sure that they are squeaky clean. And then, without touching anything, she rubbed her hands on another piece of bread, and we labelled that one clean hands. Now, we then used our science sheet to make some predictions about what we thought was going to happen to the clean hands bread and the dirty hands bread. And we chatted about the bacteria that would have been on Connie's hands before she washed them. Then, those of you who printed off your science sheets did the same experiment and you observed or watched to see each day what happened to the bread. Now, the first 4 days, we couldn't really tell any differences at all. The only difference was that the dirty hands bag seemed to be a little bit bigger. It seemed like it had more air in it. And so we were wondering whether maybe some bacteria was growing and releasing some gases. But we couldn't see anything with our eyes. But suddenly, when we got to day 4, we started to find little specks of mould.
That's day 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right, day 5. Sorry, Bella, thank you. When we got to day 5, we started to see little specks of mould. So we drew them and they grew and grew. And today I am going to be showing you the results of that experiment. Now, if you haven't yet had a chance to do this experiment at home, then you absolutely can. So the sheet's available and I can show you how. Just message me if you'd like to take part, and I will show you now the results of our experiment so that you can get excited about doing your own. So this is what happened within the week. This is the bread from our clean hands bag. Bella, would you grab me the tongs, please, so I can take the bread out? Now, I don't advise you do this, but in the name of science, I'm happy to do it for you today so that we can get a better look close up of our bread. So, just as we predicted, the clean hands bread doesn't have any mould on it. It has stayed pretty clean and quite fresh as well. It's starting to go a little stale, and I can tell because around the crusts, they're slightly more firm, slightly more solid. But as we're about to see, there is no mould. So there we go. Thank you so much, Bella. So if you can just keep track of all the comments and things just in case, and keep nice and still for me. Yeah. Okay, so the bread doesn't smell bad, just smells like normal bread. And we can see that there is no mould. Nothing. Can you see any blue on there at all? None. So I'm going to record my findings on my results sheet. And again, there's nothing on there. Now, let's have a look at the bread from the Dirty Hands experiment.
I'm excited for this.
Even on the back, before I open the bag, I can see that there is a big blue spot of mould growing. But I want to have a look at the front, the main place where Connie put her hand. So I'm being very careful, because obviously bacteria can make us quite ill. This is why I'm using my tongs. So let's have a look. So YouTube, can you see lots of specks of mould? Now, I'm not going to get rid of this experiment because I really want to see that mould growing. I'm going to continue to observe it, but you'll notice something of a handprint shape just here. And the mould is only growing where Connie pressed the hand that she hadn't cleaned yet. And what can we see? Lots of mould. And mould grows where there is bacteria. So I'm going to very carefully pop that piece of bread back into the bag without touching it. Don't want to get any of that bacteria. It also doesn't smell very good. So the one thing, we use our senses a lot, don't we? And using our sense of smell, especially when we're handling food, can help us to know if something is safe or dangerous to eat. Usually, if something smells very, very bad, so bad that it makes our tummy feel a bit funny, that usually means it's not safe. We know that when we open up the milk and we're about to pour it on our cereal, and then suddenly we go, ugh! Milk's not really supposed to smell of anything, but when it does, we know about it. And that's our nose telling us, well, you can't eat this. So we can look at things, because sometimes if things are not safe to eat, they might look like they've got bacteria on them. Then our nose might tell us by the way they smell. And if we've missed both of those things, usually our taste buds will tell us that something's bad to eat too. Have you ever taken a big mouthful of cereal with milk that's gone bad? Oh my goodness, you have to spit it right out, don't you? Without even thinking, our body tells us not to eat it, and we usually spit it right out. So that's just some of the ways that our senses tell us what's safe to put in our bodies. So which piece of bread would you want to eat? Definitely not the one that's covered in blue mould. Now, that's the experiment that we did last week. I'm going to take this bit down there like that, because today we are going to be focusing on gravity. Now, I wonder if you can have a think and remind yourself of what gravity is. And if it's a word that you've never heard before, then maybe you can think by looking at the arrows pointing downwards on my sign. What do you think gravity is? Have you ever heard the word before? It might mean, well, it might be a brand new word to you and you might not know it yet, and that's absolutely fine because we're learning together. So gravity, have another few seconds to think about what that word might mean. Now, the funny thing about this, my sign, gravity, is that it doesn't want to stay stuck to the wall. It wants to keep falling down, and that's quite funny because actually that is a lot about what gravity is. Let me show you what gravity is. Now, I have got one of my currant buns. Now, if we didn't have gravity, this would not happen. Oh my goodness, what happened? When I let go of my currant bun, it fell to the ground. If I didn't have gravity, then the currant bun would stay exactly where it is. So let's have a look again and then see if we can explain what gravity is. Here we go. Gravity is something that's all around us that pulls everything down to the ground. If we didn't have gravity, well, we wouldn't be able to stay on the ground. We'd float about instead. Gravity is a type of force. Now, forces are things that impact the world around us or change the world around us, but we can't see them. So, gravity is a force that pulls things down to the ground. If you jump, well, you don't just keep going, do you? When we jump up, we come back down again. And that act of coming back down is gravity pulling you back down to the ground. When we push up on a swing and then we fall back and come back again, everything that pulls us back down is gravity. So whether I drop a balloon, bless you, Bella, or a piece of string, there's some string, or whether I lift my hair up and drop it, everything that falls down is being pulled down by gravity. Now, sometimes when we drop certain objects, they fall a little bit more quickly than other things. So again, if I drop my, let's have a look, let's get some paper. So if I get some paper and my currant bun, which is actually made out of salt dough. Well, we can imagine which one's going to fall to the ground more quickly, can't we? Let's move my camera down a little bit so that you can see a bit more. It's okay. We'll hear it and you'll also see it. But you'll be able to guess, I wonder, which one you think will fall to the ground much more quickly. Shall we have a look? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Did you hear both things land? Let's do it again. Are you moving the eggs? Got the eggs just below me. It's a handy place to put them. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. The currant bun definitely fell more quickly than the piece of paper, didn't it? I wonder if you can imagine why that happened. What do you think? Well, there are a few differences in the two objects. The first difference is that the currant bun is heavier than the paper, but there's a really big difference in how quickly things fall. It's called surface area and air resistance. If something has a big surface area, then gravity will be pulling it down, but air from beneath will also be trying to push it back up. That's called air resistance. There's too much surface area for the paper to come down to the ground quickly. Whereas if we have a look at our lovely currant bun, it's heavier and it doesn't have very much surface area. And so there's nowhere really for the air to hit to cause air resistance. And so it falls down much more quickly. Here's our currant bun falling. And here is our piece of paper falling. Now, if I screw the piece of paper up, and take away some of that surface area, well, then you'll notice that that piece of paper falls much more quickly now. And again, if I grab another piece of paper, one with my shopping list on it, they're going to fall at different times, but they're exactly the same size. So that is science, all about gravity. But today, what we want to do is have a look at whether we can trick gravity with air resistance. Have you ever seen a parachute? Usually, parachutes are used when somebody jumps from somewhere very high, like out of a plane. Often, the parachute will help them glide down to the ground much more slowly than if they were to just jump out of a plane. If they jump out of a plane without a parachute, they're going to fall to the ground very quickly. But having a big parachute with lots of surface area and much more air resistance means that they'll come to the ground much more slowly and smoothly. So today we are going to look at different ways of creating that air resistance to try and almost trick gravity a little bit. So I've got some little friends. Have they got names yet, Bella?
What? The very scared one is named Jeff.
Okay, so I've got some eggs. Is this one Jeff?
That's Jeff.
This is Jeff. Now, Jeff is going to test out gravity all on its own. Jeff is going to be dropped from a great height, and we're going to see what happens to him. Whether the force of gravity causes his shell to crack.
Poor Jeff.
Poor Jeff. Who's this one, Bella?
Brenda.
Brenda. Now, Brenda is going to be dropped from a great height, and gravity is going to act on Brenda too, but we're going to pop Brenda in our very own hot air balloon. I'm going to blow up a balloon and make a kind of balloon parachute for her, and we're going to see if that stops gravity and the impact of falling from breaking her shell. And who's this little one?
Brian.
Brian. Well, Brian is going to be dropped from the same height as Jeff and Brenda, but Brian is going to have a parachute. And today we are going to experiment with surface area and gravity. And we want to see which methods stop these eggs from breaking. So if you're doing this with me, and grown-ups, don't worry, it doesn't have to be a messy challenge. We've actually hard-boiled our eggs. Okay, so those are our lovely little friends, Jeff, Brenda and Brian. So they are sat nervously waiting. Let's start to get our conditions ready. Oh, they're rolling all over the place. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to make the hot air balloon. So we need a balloon, and I'm going to stretch the balloon out. Hopefully that's going to mean that I can make a lovely big balloon with a really great big surface area. So here we go. Big breath, everybody. A bit bigger. Here we go. I'm filling up the balloon with lots and lots of air. And I know that balloons love to float about, so I'm hoping that this is going to help keep Brenda from meeting a nasty end on my patio floor. Here we go. So there is Brenda's balloon. And now every lovely hot air balloon needs a basket. So the most easy way to create a little basket for your egg, well, is to use the thing they came in, really. It's already shaped perfectly for them. So I'm going to take my scissors and cut out a little egg compartment. A corner one, I think, will be best, because it's going to have the most edges to play with. So let's have a look. Oh, actually, no, let's go for a middle one. Then I can get two. So if you're using scissors today, then as always, make sure that you ask your grown-up, because scissors are sharp. And if you're doing science along with me today, or you're planning to later, do let me know. Send in some pictures. I can't wait to see all of your hard work. And if you manage to use one of our science sheets, well, then I cannot wait to see your results. Okay, so that's brilliant. So I've got that little egg cup ready. I'm going to cut that one out. What's up, Boo?
I was drawing and didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, Bella.
I made a
She's
creepy
getting
egg.
awfully excited about making the faces on the eggs.
Can I eat this egg now?
No, we might need it. Don't eat the experiments. That's a spare, just in case.
Never. This is called creepiness.
So I've actually cut out a little basket for my egg. There's one. So where's
that's
Brenda?
Jeff.
Where's Brenda?
That's
she's
Brian.
That's Brian. Oh my goodness me! I need you to write their names on
That's
the.
Jeff.
There's
That's Brenda.
There's Brenda. So Brenda is going to be testing out the hot air balloon. So there's Brenda's little basket. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach 4 pieces of string to the basket and to the balloon. So I'm starting to think about the best way of doing that. What I'm going to do is actually poke a hole through each of these little, they look like cone shapes really, don't they? And I'm going to do that with some scissors very carefully. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Lovely. Okay, so what I'm then going to do is stick some string all the way through and tape them on the inside. And hopefully that will keep the string in for me. So let's do this one first. So I'm going to pull it through just like that. And I'm going to take some tape and stick the string to the inside of the cone. So a little bit of that. So Bella, I might put you in charge of just getting some tape ready for me, please.
I knew I could help you.
Oh, always. You're very helpful, my scientist. So I'm going to stick really firmly that glue onto the inside of that cone. And I'm actually going to use a few bits of tape just to make sure that we're nice and secure. So Bella, if you could just keep cutting me out bits of tape, I'll get the string ready by just threading it through the cone. And the nice thing, if you are doing it this way, is that it does create a really lovely threading exercise. Now, another thing that you can actually do, I've just had a thought, and actually, do you know what? Sometimes when we make changes, it's not bad at all. So actually what I'm going to do to make sure that this is really secure is once I've got those pieces of string through, I'm actually going to tie them in a knot because I think that's going to be a lot more sturdy than just using tape. So
should I stop making tape or should I
No,
use tape?
tape's great. Tape's great. Can I grab the scissors again, please? And thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so who is doing this with me today? Comment, let me know. I cannot wait. I love doing science with you all. It's wonderful to learn all about the world around us and to be interested in experimenting and seeing what happens when we make little changes to things. Are you right there, Bella?
Hmm?
You're making really funny noises today. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Should I have a late night?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's put all of those strings through, making your basket lovely, Brenda, I promise. So what I'm then going to do is I'm going to take my string and do exactly what string is made for, which is tying it into knots. So there we go. So I'm going to tie them across each other. So there's one knot there, and I'm also going to tape them too. So we're going to have we're going to feel really secure about this basket. So let's tie those in knots there. Lovely, they're tied in knots. There we go, just like that. Perfect, we'll put some tape on those in a minute. Bella's just gone upstairs to investigate what's going on with her sisters. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut those pieces of string to make sure that they are all the same size. So pull them nice and tightly, just like that. I've got one piece of string that's nice and short, so I'm going to make sure that they're all the same size as that one, actually. Here we go. Get those scissors. Has she taken those scissors again? No, it's just me. And snip, snip. Just like that. Now, what you can do is you can either stick them to the sides of the balloon, which I think might cause more air resistance, or you can have a go at tying them to the balloon's knot. But I like the idea of trying to create it just like a hot air balloon. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick them to the sides. So Bella, could I borrow you for just a second? Could I get you to sit right there? There you go. Go on. Time is of the essence. There's science and learning to do. So if you hold that balloon for me, and then what I want you to do is just, I'm going to give you the strings and I want you to hold them onto the balloon. So one there and one there. Lovely. And then I'm going to stick them on with the tape. Okay, so it's very tempting to use my teeth to take the tape off, but that's not very good, is it? So we're going to stick that one to there.
I can't wait to drop these out of the window.
Oh, it's going to be very good fun. Poor Brenda. I'm not sure. Do we think that the hot air balloon is going to keep Brenda from breaking? What do you think? Or do you think gravity is going to pull down too strongly on our balloon?
I thought maybe you could use helium, but then I just thought,
well,
we're just going to go
do you know what? It would be great to do an experiment with helium, but the experiment with that would actually be seeing the differences between how the helium-filled balloon behaves and how an oxygen-filled balloon behaves. So oxygen is the air that we breathe. It's the air that's all around us. And today, our balloon is full of oxygen because, actually carbon dioxide, because I breathed it out. So oxygen is what we breathe in and carbon dioxide is what we breathe out. And of course, I breathed out to fill the balloon up. So that's what it's full of today. Lovely. Okay, so our strings are nicely stuck. We now have something of a hot air balloon. Please pass me Brenda. Here she is. We're going to pop Brenda into her basket just to make sure it's all good. Looks all good. How you doing in there, Brenda? She's smiling. We're all good to go. So Brenda is ready to be dropped from a great height, and I wonder whether the balloon is going to slow down the pull of gravity and hopefully stop her from cracking when she hits the ground, and that's called an impact. So the moment that Brenda hits the ground will be an impact, and it's gravity that's causing that fall and that impact. So we're looking to see whether the balloon and the air resistance that hits us slows down that fall. Okay, so let's make our next basket. So with this one, we're going to be using a black bag. So you can use, we're using a bin liner. You can also use any plastic bag really, but again, if you're using any form of plastic bags, whether they're bags like this or whether it's a little one, whatever, you must ask, not use an adult, ask an adult, because plastic bags can be very dangerous, and so you must have an adult with you. Okay, so I've got my bin liner. Wait, what I'm going to do...
What's his name again?
Oh, we're throwing Brian with the bin liner parachute. So I'm going to unfold my bag, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into a square, and that's going to be what I use for my parachute. So where have my scissors gone? Here they are. Now, Bella, if I can get you to just hold the bag up so it's taut. So taut is when we hold something kind of tightly. So here we go. I am going to cut. I'm going to leave this section because it's just fine the way it is. I want to cut a square. So I'm sort of roughly measuring out a square. All of those sides look just about equal. So then I have my square of plastic. It's no longer a bag, it's becoming a parachute. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to tape the corners of my square to some string. I might tie them as well. And the same thing as last time, I'm then going to create a basket for my egg to go in, and I'm going to then attach that to my parachute. Okay, Bella, you're good. Okay. You're good for the moment, thank you. So I need to make another little basket for my egg, having just realised that I've just taken the best bit of my egg box. So let's have a look at doing this another way.
Maybe you can use the corner bit.
I could use the corner bit, that's a good idea, Bella, thank you.
I've got such big brains.
It's such big brains. Very intelligent.
Except this, I was not using my head.
So I'm going to take the corner. Now, obviously, there are two things that really you want your baskets to be exactly the same, because otherwise you're creating another condition. But this should be just fine. So let's just check. Whoop, I nearly dropped Brian.
No!
We're going to
Can't
check
drop
that Brian
Brian.
is comfy in his basket. There we go. And now again, I'm going to attach some strings to Brian's little basket. It looks very comfy in there. Hopefully, Brian, this is going to keep you really safe.
Don't you dare drop Brian.
Don't talk to me like that. Thank you very much. I have to drop Brian. It's part of the experiment. So again, I want to make sure that those strings are coming out of 4 little corners to make sure that the basket is balanced. What's up, Boo? You're very chatty today.
Yes, I am. I had a bit of an idea. Because you cut the square where the bag bit is, the bottom of the bag, you could just put it on those 4 corners. And
Could
then
indeed. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Okay, so just like a moment ago, we're going to take the string and I'm going to feed it through to make sure that it's met in the middle. Who's doing this with me, or are you just watching and waiting to see if we break those eggs? Now, in a moment when we do the experiment, what I'm going to do is I might attempt to bring YouTube outside. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to be able to take my phone outside on Instagram. So for the actual experiment, anyone watching on YouTube, it might be good to jump in to Instagram. We're live with the Mummy Tribe today, and then you'll be able to watch the experiment. Okay, so that bit's through. Let's do the other side. This is very exciting. Have you all made some predictions yet? Have you thought about which of the eggs you think is going to hit the ground without breaking? And have you thought about which ones you think are definitely going to break? Oh, I hope they are all good. Now, this is also Bella's lunch. So if all of those eggs break on the floor, she's going to be very hungry today.
No!
Poor Bella. We don't often experiment with her lunch, but when we do. Okay, so I've got that basket and it's nearly ready. Remember, we want all of those sides to be even so that our poor little egg doesn't fall out before it's had a chance to test out the parachute. There we go. So he's looking happy in there. So what we're going to do next is just attach the string to all 4 corners of the square of our parachute. So Bella, is everyone watching today on Instagram, or have we mostly got everybody on YouTube today?
There's one person.
Okay, that's fine. So the easiest way to attach the strings to the corners of your parachute is to pop your egg cup right in the middle, balance it kind of upside down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get some tape. So, Bella, did you just take the tape again? No, it's under my leg. So we're going to need 4 bits of tape, and we just want to make sure that each piece of string is firmly attached to 4 of those corners. Okay, so here we go. There's 1. I'm going to grab the corner of my parachute and I'm going to stick that down really firmly.
I really hope I didn't just make one of those dippy eggs.
I really hope you didn't, but do you know what? The messier the better. And if one floats safely to the ground and you can have it for lunch, then my goodness, we're winning at life.
But if only one. Not all of them, just one.
Just one. We can always boil some more. This is in the name of science. I don't normally like being wasteful, but if it means that you're learning, then today I think we'll do it. And you never know, they might all survive. I definitely think that Jeff is going to meet a sticky end with no parachute.
Oh, poor
He doesn't have very much air resistance working for him, does he?
Jeff was the one I wanted to eat the most.
Oh, poor Jeff. I think Jeff is going to make a very sticky end. And then let's just grab one more piece of sellotape. Now, I'm aware I haven't got my table today, so I will show you what this all looks like in a moment. Sticking that last piece of string down to make our lovely parachute. This one's looking really good, actually. I'm really glad. I'm really happy with how balanced it's looking. Okay, so if I pull my parachute up from the middle, okay, and then I'm going to put lovely Brian in there. Are you happy, Brian? There we go. There's Brian's parachute. Brian. Now, let's have a look at the differences between the hot air balloon. There's my balloon. Oh, there's my hot air balloon. Not sure what's happened there. It's gone a bit wonky. and my parachute. And I wonder if we can imagine which one is going to fall more slowly, which one is going to have more air resistance, and which one has more surface area. So have a think. Oh dear. Well, we're not on a good starting.
I thought you just dropped an egg.
No, I didn't. I didn't drop an egg, but the egg does need some more tape. So let's just make sure that that's really together and ready. Otherwise, we might have to start the experiment again.
I was so worried for Brenda.
I am very worried for Brenda, I have to say, and I'll tell you why in a minute as we make our predictions.
I have predictions.
So I'm concerned about Brenda because I'm really worried that the balloon maybe doesn't have quite as much surface area as the bin bag. I don't know. I'm just a bit worried. I'm worried about them all, to be honest. Dropping eggs from great height is never something you should really do. And if you are going to be dropping your eggs from a window, again, do ask your grown-up for their help. Let's have a look. And we've got Robin. And Robin is glad to see that all our eggs are still intact. So am I. So am I. We're nearly there. So I'm going to really put lots of sellotape around all of my string now, so that we don't get any more little accidents. And I'm also going to put some sellotape at the bottom so that those bits of string sort of stay even on all sides. So Bella, if you could hold this balloon up for me very quickly. And in a moment, we're going to go outside and drop the eggs, which I cannot wait for. My goodness me. Okay, so let's grab that. Doo-ba-doo, doo-ba-doo. I think I might need to edit this video because it's quite long, isn't it? But thank you all for staying with me. You're all incredible. So there we go. That's that one ready. So we've got those all ready. Fantastic. Okay, so Bella, if you could take them in a moment upstairs, and I'll take everybody outside.
To my room.
Yeah, in a moment. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to grab my pen. So I've got my science worksheet. It's out and it's ready. Let's bring you all a little bit closer. Same for Instagram, Bella, if you can bring the camera closer. No, you're going to just do that for me. Thank you. So we're going to be using these words today. We've got gravity, air resistance, balloon, fall, parachute, and drop. When we drop things, that's when gravity acts on them. So for the experiment, we've used eggs, we've used a bin bag, we've used 8 pieces of string, we've used some sellotape, and we've used our little baskets, haven't we? Some scissors, our balloon, our science worksheet, and a pencil or a pen for our recordings. So then we're going to make a prediction. So what I'm going to do for my predictions is I'm going to draw my eggs. So there we go. There's Jeff.
That's Brenda.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's Brenda in the balloon. Then we've got Brian in the parachute. And then we've got poor Jeff. And actually, this is my prediction. I think that Jeff is going to be cracked all over. And I think there's going to be bits of egg coming out all over the place. I think that Brenda is just going to be a bit cracked, but I don't think too badly. I think the balloon maybe isn't going to stop her falling so quickly, but it might just stop her just enough. I'm also a bit worried that the balloon might get carried away by the wind and that she might fall out of the basket. And the parachute, I think we might have one little crack, because I think that the parachute has got so much surface area to catch all of that air and slow down that fall. I think that that Brian's going to be okay. So, Bella, what I want you to do is I want you to take each different thing upstairs and meet me at the bathroom window. So we're going to do it out of the bathroom window so that you can stand on the bath, okay?
Safely though, not dangerously.
Well, yes, stand in the bath. And the bath is dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to switch you guys around like that. There we go. Okay, everybody, are we ready? Let's go outside and get this experiment going. I'm so excited. Let's have a look. Now, we've done our predictions. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, come and join me over on Instagram, The Mummy Tribe. And I've just sort of left YouTube running, but that's okay, because we'll come back in a moment. Okay, right, so we are outside now, and we're looking up at the bathroom window.
Go get the other egg.
I'm not sure. Don't worry, I'll do it. Right then, so back in we go to report on our findings, and there we go. So we're back on YouTube, and oh my goodness, what a horrid turn of events. So let me turn you back round so that you can face Bella, and she will hold the camera for me instead of getting it all set up because it'll take too long. So there we go.
Hello,
Turn you round. Lovely. Okay, well, do you know what? The science experiment, I think we might need to repeat it. There was some things at play. It was very windy, first of all, but also the parachute, though it worked and it did send those eggs down to the ground much more slowly, it also got caught by the wind, which ended up meaning that the poor egg sort of got beat about a little bit, and now it's a yolk on the floor. So let's have a look. Well, the result was absolutely, with the egg drop, my goodness, I thought we might have a cracked egg with a little bit of stuff coming out, but what we ended up with was just egg everywhere. We had egg, we've got droplets of egg, just absolutely everywhere. Let's make that pen work a bit better. Let's use a felt tip instead. So we had egg all over the floor, not even a little bit of yolk. The yolk's kind of everywhere. There were bits popping out. It's just a mess all over the floor. And you know what we predicted for the parachute drop, that we would only have a tiny little crack, but that one is actually now, it looks quite good, because do you know what's really funny is it fell, but the yolk is still completely intact.
Yeah, and
which is amazing. It didn't break. So we know that the parachute did help to glide the egg back down to the ground in some way, but it also got caught by the wind because there was so much surface area to catch the air. And then we've got the balloon drop. Now with the balloon drop, actually, lovely Brenda did really well and just has a little crack on her head. She did really well, and the balloon did definitely slow the fall down a lot. And I think the shape of the balloon and the way that the air resistance worked against it meant that she actually glided down in one go without getting flapped about by the wind. She just came straight down very, very slowly, very, very calmly. And I think that's why she didn't break. So I'm going to do that session again. But this time I'm going to film those eggs in slow motion. So I'll make sure to put another video up of our experiment a little bit quicker, and hopefully with a lovely slow-mo of what happens to those eggs. I cannot wait. And these ones I will not be boiling. Thank you. Do you want to bring it up a little bit, Bella? I think you're just filming my stomach at the moment. No. It's been lovely to see you this afternoon. A big well done to everybody who joined in today with the science experiment. It was a long one, so I do apologise about that. Next week's won't be so long. Is there a specific science lesson you would like me to teach? Let me know what your children are interested in, whether they love growing all of the bacteria, whether it's space or chemistry or biology. Maybe you want to learn about how flowers grow. Just let me know in the comments or send me a little message. And if you would like one of our sheets for today's experiment so that you can do your very own egg drop at home, they are available at enchantednanny.com/shop. And there are lots of other science experiments there for you to do. Bella, am I still on the camera? I am, because you're looking at me. I always worry. Bella will hold the camera often, but she's looking right at me and then her hand's kind of doing this. So you have to look through the camera, boo. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that science experiment and that you get to do it at home. If you do send me some photographs of your results, especially those messy, messy eggs on the floor. My goodness, poor Jeff. And poor Brian, that was unexpected.
And what was the last one?
Well, we didn't give the last one a name. He was a stand-in. Thank you so much for being scientists with me today. Let's finish with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. I will be back with the Mummy Tribe tomorrow at 10 a.m. for stories and songs. Goodbye, everyone. See you soon.